So I wanted to speak about anger, right? But this actually goes for any kind of emotion. The principle is the same. The the algorithm, the system, the truth of how this works is the same. But let's focus on the anger right now, okay? So we can have a better idea of how this works. So there are people that call themselves gurus, therapists, enlightened beings, or whatever, people that teach humanity of how to be a human, right? Because we fear being human. And I would just like to say that you have to have discernment in this age of information, because many speak just speak just many people just speak from head, just from the mind, and not from embodiment, right? I have seen this guru therapist speaking about anger. A woman was asking him how to process the anger, and he immediately went into some rule how emotions and how human work. And he just said that actually, if you want to process the anger means you were hurt, and so because actually you were hurt, anger is a defense mechanism, but actually you need to cry, right? And she was asking of how to embody the anger, how to be fine with anger, but he just pointed her to crying, and then she cried, right? But I just wanted to say that when we are rejecting ourselves, when we are in fear of the life force within, actually any kind of stress relief can work for a short period of time, right? So even though she was asking of how she can be angry and then she cried, it looks like she needed crying, but actually that was just a stress relief, if you ask me. So I just wanted to point this, that actually when you're being very stressed, whatever people will guide you in, and you then having this being allowed to be in whatever way they approve of you being, guide you into, now you having this allowance of expressing whatever emotion. I just wanted to say that whatever emotion will do for that moment in order to release the stress of that moment. But I just wanted to say that this is actually, there is much deception in that, because if a woman, a person, a man seeks for embodiment of anger, how to process anger, people should be guided into that, not into trying to prove that actually there is something hidden behind, right? People always assume that if somebody is angry or wants to be angry or feels to be angry, that there is actually behind some kind of hurt and that they actually need to cry. This is false. This truly is false. This is just one of the mechanisms, a self, uh, a defensive mechanism. This is just one of the ways that it can be expressed, right? This fear. It can be expressed also in other ways. I just wanted to say that actually when you are seeking for resolvement of anger, you should first allow yourself anger, right? You have to allow yourself the anger, the emotion that you feel being present or hesitating to express, right? You have to first allow this before jumping to conclusions of what is there behind it and if this emotion is even genuine, right? You should first allow yourself what is currently genuine there. Because people living mind-based, this rule-based in anger is just some kind of defense mechanism, you are hurt, you need to cry. It is just, it can be a bypassing, and it many times is, because this world is heavily repressed in anger, and we need to start expressing anger and embodying it and be fine with it, because it is a part of human experience and it is not low vibration. Anger, it's not a low vibration emotion. Being resistant to anger, and therefore allowing anger because of resisting it to persist constantly in your experience and therefore dominating your experience all the time, it's what is bringing down your energy vibration, your mood, right? You being resistant, it's what is lowering your vibration. So you being resistant to the flow of life, and maybe a part of that flow, it's anger, right? So if you are resisting genuine anger, you're resisting the flow of life, and you're living in resistance, conscious or unconscious of that, you're living in fear. And so living in fear, it is what is lowering your vibration, right? So if you are functioning from a false self, from the ego, from the defensing mechanism, from fear, you are maybe being angry, but actually that anger is just a defense mechanism, because anger is all you can express, something that you're not afraid to express. But actually it is false, it is no defense mechanism, right? Because actually you want to express maybe sadness, but you don't allow yourself sadness, you fear sadness. So anger is the only thing you allow yourself, right? So even though you are being asked from the moment to cry because you are afraid of crying, you will be angry. This is how people are. They give what they have, right? They only can show what they allow themselves to show and be like. So they maybe are asked to cry and show hurt, but they are too weak to face themselves being like that. They fear themselves being like that, being seen like that. And so they allow themselves the only thing they are left with, and that is maybe anger in this situation, right? So in this situation where people don't allow themselves the genuine emotion and allow themselves the only thing that they are not afraid. For instance, maybe being hurt and crying is scary, so they lash out with anger onto people. That anger is a defense mechanism. It is coming from a false egoic self. So these people need to be aware that they are actually hiding a different emotion, for instance, sadness, right? But you can actually not resist, not operate from a false self, but from a true self, from a genuine self, not anymore operating from the ego, from the fear, and actually having that anger as the sacred divine expression of yourself, as what was meant for this moment, the life force being expressed as anger, right? So if somebody is attacking you, if somebody is violating your boundaries, hurting you, or just being annoying or whatever, right? You being angry and establishing boundaries, you screaming back, making it known through anger, because anger is now genuine in the moment, making it known to them, for them to see themselves what they are doing, so they can face the consequences now of maybe them violating your limits, they can through anger see themselves and stop doing it, right? So anger now in this situation, it's coming from a true self, and it is genuine and right to be there, right? There is nothing hiding behind this kind of anger, behind anger that's coming from a true self. Nothing is hiding behind this. It is just pure anger, and being allowed that anger, after it, there will be peace, neutrality, right? Or whatever else the life force will demand from you, God will demand from you. God is giving us the life force. So this is it. Either you're coming from a false self or from a true self, right? If you are coming from a false self, that anger is a defense mechanism. But if it's coming from a true self, there is no mechanism behind it. There is no agenda behind it. And you should just follow what's genuinely present for you. That's it. And even if you follow upon the anger that's false, you are accepting that falseness, and only if the falseness is accepted, it can be processed and moved through, where we can finally then accept the truth of the moment, right? If you are resisting falseness of the moment not being true, you are persisting it, then you are constantly being like that. So in order to come to the truth, you have to accept the false, right? So acceptance, surrender is one pill for all disease kind of treatment in this life. It truly does work like this, magically. Just accept the false emotion, allow it to be there, allow it to pass through, and then by resolving and moving through the falseness, the truth is the next, right? So you continuing being open, you then process then the false and the true, and you come to the true emotion. With surrendering to life, you cannot bypass or allow yourself to remain in the illusion of living in some kind of defense mechanism, or trying to find what is the right way, or discerning, is this true self or false self, is there an agenda behind? Just surrender to the moment as it is, face it as it is, feel it as it is, express it as it is, and remain being open, right? Remain being loving. Love the false self all the way until false self doesn't anymore exist, right? Love the false self until it is gone, and then there is the true self, and then continue loving it. That's it. You don't need a guru. Just prove to yourself that you are powerful enough to take life as it is and surrender to that. Be how life demands you to be, and continue being open all the way. This is how healing is done. This is why people say that you can only heal through God. And this is the truth. That's it. So, what is lowering our vibration is the resistance to what is in the moment, right? You're resisting the falseness or the truth. The resistance is then persisting your state of resistance. So the resistance, the denial of life, whatever true or false life, the resistance to it doesn't allow the resolvement of it, right? So having a blockage is what is lowering your energy, your vibration. So in order to allow that, you have to clear that blockage by accepting it. Accept the false so you can start accepting the truth within that's present every moment of life. Just remain being open. That's it. Don't be open for the false self and then close yourself for the true self, right? And then again, be open only for the false self. This way you're perpetuating falseness all the way until you die. Truly love yourself. Love the false version of self and love the true version of self. Remain being open through through the false self, and then continue being open through the truth, true self. So all you need is love. Just apply it, right? People say, oh, we will not heal, we will not unite through love. Love is all you need. You just need to apply it to all levels of life. That's it.